97% of companies will only work with vendors that can prove strong cybersecurity measures. Is the cybersecurity insurance element of everything? What have you? It touches each and every one of us. Considering Bill already mentioned the fact that everybody's probably ready for food and drinks, I'll keep this very short. This is also probably not as interesting as data and AI and everything else. For some reason, everybody seems to associate, at least within the company, anytime that somebody needs to do some sort of speech about compliance, it's me. Because nobody really wants to talk about compliance, let's be honest. There's probably a couple people, but I don't know if I'd imagine anyone in this room. So for whatever reason, I think ultimately my enthusiasm about compliance is probably why I'm here. At the same time, I don't want to bore you about how do you instill a compliance culture within the organization. I think I did that last year, quite frankly. My big thing for this time that I wanted to talk about was really the benefits of it. I think we, as an organization, and Karin touched on a lot in terms of security, we oftentimes talk about all the scary things, and it's like you're going to lose your contract, you're going to get audited, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And I get it, it's real world. But what I want to focus on today is the fact that yes, it's first of all inevitable, but more importantly, the benefits, to maybe have people buy in a little bit more. So again, I talked and ranted a little bit last year about how we're in, and this is one of my favorite topics, just like Bill said, if anyone wants to talk about the fourth industrial revolution, which we're currently in. With that being said, compliance touches on everything. So again, the backbone of modern business success is really my 2 cents on this, and I think it's an essential thing for today's business. So also, again, I'm going to point out to this, I wanted to keep this more visual than anything else. Thank you, Bill, for the amazing AI image filter, by the way. Napkin.ai, shout out. Again, I guess show of hands, who currently is working with some sort of compliance requirement that they have to abide by, follow, report by, etc.? Oh, okay, all right. We got some. So regardless of where you fall, startup, enterprise, government organization, what have you, it touches each and every one of us. Whether you're a client, a vendor, a partner, what have you, sooner or later, it flows through. And so, again, obviously the enterprise experiences everything before the smaller business world, but at the same time, the compliance is touching everyone. Last year I talked about an executive order that the president had signed, where again, they were pushing out a new standard and a new framework. I'm sure there's folks here that have talked about CMMC plenty. With that said, just the general shared responsibility framework, I'm not going to go into what compliance is. I think last year I talked about what the definition was. The general concept that I think we'll all agree on with the first slide is the fact that it touches us all. So we have our top level regulatory frameworks, they touch the enterprise. Again, whoever wants to be a car invention, government subcontractor or government contractor, listen, if you're a vendor to a government subcontractor, it doesn't have to even be that. If you were a vendor to somebody who has HIPAA data, at that point, we're talking about business associates agreement. So it flows through all the way, from your top level to your vendors, subcontractors, and SMPs. There we go. And so another thing that I believe, Karin, you touched on, and something that we talk about quite a lot, is the cybersecurity insurance element of everything. In our world, all too often, one of my favorite moments, at least back in the day when I was a little bit more hands-on with clients, I would preach about this recommendation, that recommendation, and for so many clients, they would not really start to grasp the concept of compliance until it was time to get insurance. And now all of a sudden, all these recommendations that were being made are now mandatory, all of a sudden. And so what ends up happening is a lot of folks view it as just something we have to do. Again, we're familiar with this. Like, we get a contractor, the contractor has the certificate of insurance, they have this, they have that. Same concept here. So again, with cybersecurity insurance in particular, there's the given risks that everybody understands that you're covering yourself for. Again, I want to dig deeper into this because, as Karin pointed out, it's something that can change an organization for the better. I think my big message that I'd really like to leave you all with here is it's not just something that we have to do, grudgingly along the way. Oh, we have another HIPAA audit, we have to do this, we have to do that. And I think I'll let sort of the rest of the team speak for themselves. For us, when we went down that road, we embraced it, and we really allowed it to drive an organizational change more than, just something we had to do. So again, there's the given opportunities of, being compliant. You're going to obviously be able to pursue different types of business contracts. You're first of all going to retain. If you're a contractor right now, or if you have clients that have certain compliance requirements, it obviously strengthens your relationship. But one of the other things, try to keep it very short or limited with statistics. 57% of companies will only work with vendors that can prove strong cybersecurity measures. And so, again, one of the things that we noticed at Klik, once we started getting serious and really embracing the overall compliance culture, it was the fact that maybe initially it was something that was great, when we're talking with prospects, but at a certain point I realized this is a prerequisite to just sit at the table and to have these conversations. So for me, I really wanted to touch on those opportunities. So again, by becoming quote unquote a compliant company, whatever it is that means for your given industry, whether that's, obviously if you're in the medical industry, some of the things like HIPAA, for example, they're unavoidable. But again, depending on what industry you're in, you may touch on things that are government related. So you have your DFARS, you have your CMMC. It's oftentimes unavoidable. We know about GDPR from the European side. We know obviously about PCI. So you're processing any sort of payment data, that's all part of it. And so again, by starting with the general concept of actually instituting compliance as a culture within your organization, you're obviously able to win larger contracts. You have that prerequisite card to come sit at the table and have those conversations. Again, if you're actually following your compliance, you're probably doing a better job with your customers. You're probably retaining customers more. Again, depending on what specific framework. Again, oftentimes in our world is SOC 2, for example. You're able to expand your market reach. And then obviously along the way, you're enjoying excellent cost savings. And a lot of the times I think the savings are ignored because it's through the reduction of risk more than anything else. But us IT people, I think, know a thing or two about that because we always joke that if you're seeing the IT person in the office sitting quietly, it means they're doing their job and things are working well. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. If you want to talk more about compliance, talk to Bill more than like, no, I'm just joking. I look forward to talking to you all as well.